Today we're going to Mount Tabor. Come with us. So right now we're on our way to the Tabor mountain. It's here right on the border between the lower Galilee and the Jezreel Valley, and we're about 10 kilometers from Nazareth right now. This is a lone mountain. It's not part of a mountain range, and I didn't actually recognize the name Tabor when I came to Israel, but I read recently in the book of Judges it's mentioned several times, like in the story of Deborah and in the story of Gideon. You hear about it. Then it's also debated whether this was the site of the Transfiguration, because it said that Jesus went up to a high place to pray, and this is a really obvious place. Since the 4th century, church tradition holds that this was the site, but it's not specifically mentioned as such in the Bible. There's a 2-kilometer trail around the top that you can hike, which is beautiful. There are a lot of trees, and it's a great view. You can see really far in all directions. So
let's go.
Let's go.
In the year 1200 BC, the Israelites sinned against God, and he gave them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, who oppressed them for 20 years with a powerful army and 900 iron chariots under the command of Sisera. Deborah, the judge of Israel at the time, summoned Barak, son of Abinoam, from the tribe of Naphtali, and told him that God commanded him to gather 10,000 men from the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali on Mount Tabor and go to battle against Sisera. Barak hesitated and insisted that Deborah accompany him. She agreed, but prophesied that because of his hesitation, the glory of defeating Sisera would go to a woman and not to him. Deborah and Barak gathered 10,000 warriors on Mount Tabor, while Sisera led his army to the Shone River to confront them. At Deborah's command, Barak and his men descended from the mountain to fight. During the battle, a storm caused the Kishon River to overflow, and the iron chariots of Sisera became sitting ducks as they were stuck in the mud. Israel gained a total victory in that battle. Sisera jumped off his chariot and fled away on foot to the tent of Yael, wife of Heber the Kenite. Yael welcomed him and gave him milk to drink, and when he had fallen into a deep sleep from exhaustion, she killed him and earned credit for the victory.
Alright guys, this is where it happened. We're on top of Mount Tabor, and this is where Deborah the Prophetess and Barak gathered 10,000 men before they met with Sisera's army. You can see the whole valley from here. It's just a phenomenal sight. Now Sisera and his men with the 900 chariots of iron were down over there next to Nahal Kishon, and then the men off the mountain came down into the valley and they were fighting down out here somewhere. Nice. Again. There's a kid. So when you're hiking in Israel, when you see these painted stripes on rocks, they give you an indication of the trail that you're on. There are hiking trails all over, and this one is part of the Shvil Israel, the Israel trail that goes from the north all the way to the south of Israel through nature.
I've traveled this big world, lonesome I have roamed. I've laid down in green pastures, I've rolled down rocky roads. And as my hair turned silver, I lost my lust for gold. Now cups of wine can't satisfy the thirst within my soul. Narrow is the road to glory. Perdition's gates are broad and wide. On the steps you take to ponder, from the path to not far wander, for the narrow road to glory's worth the price.
I don't think this is the trail now. There's a different trail down there.
Let's explore, Opi.
It's huge.
Wow. It's huge.
I wonder what they used it for.
To answer this question, let's embark on a brief journey through time. Throughout history, various nations and empires have ruled the land of Israel, shaping its character and appearance. The Roman Empire first controlled Israel in 63 BC and eventually faced a Jewish revolt that spread across the whole country, including the Galilee. Josephus Flavius was the commander of the Jewish forces in the Galilee and fortified strategic locations, including Mount Tabor. However, the Jewish rebels here and all over the country were ultimately defeated, and in 70 AD, the Second Temple in Jerusalem was destroyed. Each empire that ruled Israel had its own distinct architectural style. The Romans built theaters, bridges, and other structures, often incorporating semicircular arches. During the Byzantine Empire's rule over Israel, semicircular arches were also commonly used, particularly in the construction of churches, such as those built on Mount Tabor in the 4th century AD. The Crusaders, who arrived between the 11th and 13th centuries, introduced pointed arches influenced by the European Gothic style. Today, a monastery and a church stand on the mountain, built on the ruins of earlier religious structures that were repeatedly destroyed and rebuilt as control of the land shifted from one empire to the next. The arch we found at the entrance of the cave on Mount Tabor matches the Roman Byzantine style, with its characteristic semicircular shape. This cave may date back to the Byzantine period, more than 1,500 years ago, and may have been part of religious structures or a refuge for clergy living on the mountain.
It's interesting because these are rough cut stones. They're not perfect, but look how well they've held up, you know? They're holding up all the weight of the rocks above them.
Yeah.
Holding their own weight. That's pretty impressive. And the color, it doesn't look like the color of the rocks from here. Although, maybe it is, because see, those rocks have a little bit of a pink tone in them. Maybe they actually cut rocks from out inside here and then used them on this.
For thousands of years, empires have risen and fallen in the land of Israel, yet Mount Tabor has remained a sacred place of faith and prayer. Believers from all around the world still come to visit this site, which tradition holds was the location of Jesus' transfiguration. Jesus took Peter, James, and John up on a high mountain to pray. There, Jesus was transfigured before their eyes. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. Moses and Elijah appeared to them and spoke with Jesus. A cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son whom I love. I am well pleased with him. Listen to him." The Transfiguration made Jesus' identity as the Son of God dazzlingly clear to these disciples, and later to the world. Walking on Mount Tabor, you can feel the significance of history and imagine the miracles that took place here. In a place where empires have risen and fallen, the love of God has remained constant. Here, God saved Israel from the Canaanites. From the mountaintops of Galilee, the light and love of Jesus, the Son of God, shines as a beacon of salvation to the world.